Crown Prince Christian of Denmark has been secretly in love for the past year with a mysterious young woman named Emma. Discover in this captivating report all the details, behind-the-scenes stories, and implications of this royal romance that has fascinated all of Europe. A scent of romance is blowing over the Danish monarchy and is already captivating all of Europe. Crown Prince Christian of Denmark, the future king destined for a statehood, has reportedly found love with a young woman named Emma, whose name is now making hearts beat faster and conversations vibrate. For the past year, hidden from view but at the center of 1,000 speculations, this young couple has been building a discreet, fragile yet promising relationship, arousing as much curiosity as emotion. What if, behind the splendor of the palaces and the weight of the crowns, there was a simple story of youth, filled with enthusiasm, discoveries, and that freshness rarely found in the spheres of royal power? The story has all the makings of a modern tale. Christian, heir to the Danish crown, raised from the very beginning with an awareness of his future role, must balance tradition, strict protocol, and his personal desires. At 19, he already finds himself under the scrutiny of the media, with every outing, every gesture, every smile interpreted as a sign of his future reign. And yet, far from the red carpets and official ceremonies, the prince allows himself to experience what every young man his age wishes to experience: a sincere love story, with a certain Emma who seems to have become his refuge in a world where intimacy is a rare luxury. So who is this Emma who holds such a special place in the prince's heart? Rumors describe her as an intelligent, gentle young woman with a discreet yet assertive personality. She doesn't come from traditional aristocratic circles, and that's precisely what fascinates the public. For if we look back at the history of European monarchies, heirs have often had to face immense pressure when choosing their future companion. Between political alliances and arranged marriages, true love rarely had a place. But today, Christian seems to embody a new generation of sovereigns, freer, more open, and determined to follow their hearts. This relationship, already a year old, has reportedly withstood the constraints of the prince's schedule, divided between studies, royal duties, and official appearances. Away from the cameras, the couple has reportedly cultivated moments of togetherness, far from the spotlight, in a Denmark where the royal family remains very popular. Christian, despite his rank, has always been described as a simple young man, close to his friends and attached to a relatively normal life. Emma is part of this continuity, a presence that allows him to keep his feet on the ground, a bubble of tenderness in the midst of a heavy world. This is not the first time the Danes have questioned the romantic life of their crown prince. Since his teenage years, Christian has been associated with several female friendships, often exaggerated by the tabloids. But with Emma, the tone seems different. More stable, more serious, more anchored in time. The idea that the future king is already in a long-term relationship intrigues and divides. On the one hand, those who applaud a choice of the heart, a symbol of modernity, and on the other, those who fear that the monarchy will lose some of its prestige if the future heir does not surround himself with a figure from aristocratic or political circles. This debate is not new. Queen Margrethe II herself, Christian's grandmother, made history with her love marriage to Henri de Laborde de Montpezat, a Frenchman of non-royal descent. The couple had to face criticism before gaining widespread acceptance. Christian's father, Frederick, chose Letizia, an Australian of common descent, who became the popular Queen Mary of Denmark. History thus repeats itself, generation after generation, and the fate of Christian and Emma could well embody this new modernity that is increasingly appealing to the people of Europe. But if we look more closely, this romance also raises questions. How is Emma coping with this sudden pressure, a woman who probably never imagined she would one day become the target of media scrutiny? How is she preparing for an uncertain future, where intimacy is reduced to a minimum and every gesture can be interpreted as a political statement? Royal families, while fascinating, also impose an implacable discipline. Emma, with her discretion, seems to have already understood that love, in this context, is lived in secrecy and modesty. For Christian, this relationship is also a school of maturity. It allows him to confront his personal responsibilities before having to face those of the state. In a world where heirs to the throne are constantly compared to their European counterparts, Victoria of Sweden, Ingrid Alexandra of Norway, Amalia of the Netherlands, or Leonor of Spain, Christian plays a different card. While his royal cousins multiply official engagements and cultivate an image of sovereigns in the making, he chooses to show a more human, more vulnerable, more accessible side. Emma, by her simple presence, humanizes the figure of the prince and brings him closer to his people. Their story is a reminder of how European monarchies evolve with the times. Once a symbol of authority and distance, they now tend to embody values closer to popular aspirations: love, sincerity, and authenticity. Christian's choice could well strengthen the popularity of the Danish royal family, already perceived as one of the closest and most beloved in Europe. But it could also weaken its image if this romance were to abruptly end, as people quickly become attached to love stories and are just as saddened when they end. In the meantime, the mystery continues to hover. Emma remains an enigma, deliberately protected, and every rare detail that emerges fuels curiosity a little more. Attention is now turning to the next major royal events, where people wonder if she will officially appear at the prince's side. A first public appearance would confirm the strength of this relationship and mark a turning point in the future sovereign's story. This secret romance, both tender and full of challenges, has been written in silence for a year. It tells as much about the fragility of feelings as the strength of traditions, as much about the freedom to choose as the weight of an inheritance. For Christian and Emma, the future is still uncertain, but it is already shining with a special radiance, that of a budding love that defies codes and captivates the crowds. And you, do you think this discreet love will withstand the storms of royal life and establish itself as a new fairy tale of the 21st century?